Yesterday, I saw that Carlos Tavares resigned. And some people are saying he was fired, some people say he was pushed out, and a lot of people are really happy about it. I understand why people are happy to see him go. Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is suffering right now. Their sales are down, their vehicles are just not as advantageous as they used to be, and a lot of that has to do with some of the changes that were made. Now let's go back a little bit here, because I think some of you guys are probably going to disagree with me, but I think you're going to agree with me at the end of this video, and here's why. Carlos Tavares basically inherited Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. There was a merger that happened back in 2021 between FCA and PSA. If you don't remember, Marcione, who was the CEO that basically bought FCA back in 2009, I would say that he was single-handedly responsible for the success of this brand. He did a great job back in 2015. You had Tim Kuniskis. He was pretty much responsible for the Hellcat, and it really brought a lot of fun and pride back to this brand, okay? Now, back in 2021, FCA and PSA, which is Peugeot, merged together. Now there's a reason why they did that. Obviously they could share technologies, and a lot of different functions can come together and make a greater automotive company. Look what happened with Volkswagen. Volkswagen merged with quite a few manufacturers, and they are one of the greatest, I would say, today. But here's why I think Carlos kind of got the short end of the stick. In 2021, what happened? A new president took office. And not just any president, one that absolutely wants to see the demise of the internal combustion engine. Now let's go ahead and read an article, just really quickly, on what basically happened to Carlos. I'm on MoparInsiders.com, and their article goes on to say that Stellantis has confirmed the resignation of CEO Carlos Tavares, effective immediately. This announcement follows a report by Bloomberg earlier in the day suggesting that the executive would step down due to strategic disagreements with the company's board of directors. I want you guys to remember this, because this is very, very interesting, because I read an article a few weeks ago, and I'm willing to bet you there's a correlation, and I'm telling you you're going to agree with me on this. Now it goes on to say, under the leadership of Stellantis Chairman John Elkann, the board accepted Tavares' resignation and announced plans to appoint a permanent CEO by mid-2025. In the interim, an interim executive committee led by Elkann will oversee the company's operations. Now, this senior independent director at Stellantis, I can't say his name, but it's Henry D. Castries, I think is how you say it, commented on the situation, noting the company's track record of aligned leadership since its inception. Stellantis' success since its creation has been rooted in a perfect alignment between the reference shareholders, the board, and the CEO. However, in recent weeks, different views have emerged, which have resulted in the board and CEO coming to today's decision. So, here's what I'll tell you. In business, things are never what they seem. And I think that Carlos may have just got the short end of the stick. Because as I said earlier, when he took on Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, a new president was in office. That president wanted more fuel-efficient vehicles. As a matter of fact, he wanted to see more EVs, and he wanted to see less internal combustion engines, especially ones like this truck. And Tavares and the team, not knowing the customer, decided that it would be a good idea to replace, in the interim, the Dodge Charger and Challenger with this. Do I need to say anything else? I mean, this was a bad decision, collectively. Everyone should be fired for this, because my humble opinion is, who's gonna buy this over a Dodge Charger? Like, could you imagine someone coming in here with a wide-body Hellcat, and the salesperson says, I got the greatest car for you, you're gonna love this thing. And they bring him over to this guy. Now granted, it does have some 4-piston brakes, and you know, I mean, what else is, I'm not gonna lie here, this thing is, it's not a nice car to trade in for something like a wide body Scat Pack, Hellcat, whatever it is. Like, this was a bad decision across the board, but as I said, what can you do when the current administration is trying to push out big block V8s. Yeah, you can't beat that sound. I'm sorry. So for all those people who bought the V8s, either it be the 6.4, the 6.2, the 5.7, these engines are no longer available in the most important vehicles that Dodge offers. You can't get them anymore. And so that's why this brand is not doing good, because they're no longer available. So let's go ahead and read the other part of the article where I think that Tavares probably was ready to see some big changes in the next couple of years to really save this brand, but he was stopped at the door because they want to continue the push, as I said earlier, from this current administration. This next article is from Car and Driver. I read this on November 26th. It goes on to say automakers petition Trump hoping to avoid drastic EV policy changes. Let's go ahead and read it. An organization of 42 automakers has urged President-elect Donald Trump not to kill off existing EV tax incentives and emission regulations. As part of a letter in which the group shared its stance on a range of automotive policies such as automated driving and roadway safety, according to a news story from the New York Times titled "Automakers to Trump, Please Require Us to Sell Electric Vehicles." Who's trying to stop you? Trump is pictured above in a photo from 2020 with the ill-fated Lordstown electric pickup truck. The letter, dated November 12th, was sent by the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, whose members collectively sell the vast majority of new vehicles in the United States each year. So here's where I just busted out laughing when I saw that Carlos stepped down. This is just too funny, guys. It's too funny. Stellantis says it's ready for change. Car and Driver reached out to Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, which are all members of the organization, asking for a comment. Representatives for Ford and General Motors pointed us to the letter sent by Bozzella and the Alliance and declined to comment further. Wonder why, Ford and GM, you sellouts? A representative for Stellantis responded to Car and Driver with the following statement. The New York Times story characterizing Stellantis as preparing to lobby the incoming Trump administration to preserve EV mandates is not accurate. Stellantis was not among the lobbyists and officials from several car companies the story cites as its sources. In fact, Stellantis' CEO has repeatedly said that the company is uniquely well positioned to adapt to any policy changes President-elect Trump might make because its multi-energy platforms can easily flex to accommodate a wide range of powertrain options from internal combustion to full battery electric. Didn't I tell you guys you're going to agree with me at the end of this video? As I said, Tavares is not the bad guy. He's just not. He's the person who has to look like the bad guy so that the other people can look like the heroes. At the end of the day, you can believe what you want to believe. Why do they want to control what we can buy? Why is GM and Ford okay with this? Like, why are they not going after their buyers, their clients, and saying, hey, what do you guys want? See, at the end of the day, they don't even use their Trump card. Ain't that funny, Trump card? But I'm being serious though. Why don't they allow the American people to stand with them and fight against these stupid policies? I mean, these are absolutely stupid policies. The reason why people are going up against Trump, like, you literally have people saying that they're going to secede against Trump. Why? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just accept the fact that people don't want these strict emissions? They don't want EVs. Some people do, but the majority don't. So why are you pushing it and shoving it down our throats? And I have a problem with that. And I know why. And I can't say why, sadly. Maybe one day I will, but I already get throttled on this channel whenever I talk political stuff anyway. So I ain't gonna do it on this video. But at the end of the day, You can believe what you want. I think that Tavares is the hero. I think he is. I think that what he did was he went into a holding pattern because he wanted to see who was going to win this election. He's a brilliant man. However, he's looked at as the villain because that's what you're supposed to believe. He's only the villain to people who want EVs. He's only the villain to people who want stricter emission stuff. But he's not the villain. Unfortunately, he inherited a car company that has always been dysfunctional. Let's face it, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram is the crackhead of the family. I'm just saying, I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm just being completely honest. They're the crackhead of the family. And that's okay, because the crackhead always has the most fun. You know, we can depend on them to give us a good laugh, and we'll have to wait and see, but hopefully, the people running Stellantis will make right decisions, not for their pockets, not for the government, but for the customer. Because if you do that, you can never lose. You guys did the right thing back in 2015, offering the Hellcat. You did the right thing offering the high output Cummins with 1,000 pound-feet of torque. And you've always kind of been the innovators. Think about the Ram Charger. I mean, that truck is absolutely one I would probably put on my list to buy soon whenever they decide to build it. But it all comes down to what you're willing to believe. And I truly believe that Carlos is not the bad guy. And I could be wrong, but I just believe that he went in a holding pattern because he didn't want to push these EVs. I mean, right now, we should have seen the REV, which is a Ram electric truck, and we don't see it. But I hope you guys liked the video. Let me know if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, that's okay too. I just think that there's a lot that needs to be unpacked here before we start picking sides later.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.